Hey everyone, this is a previously unreleased audio portion of George Carlin's routine long ago, but I thought it was quite important. I'm just going to replay this real quick, just so that hopefully, especially for the younger people that listen to this video, or even some of the older people that forget about this reality. But it's a joke. George always jokes, right? But his jokes are always based in, philosophy and reality. So it's much easier to point truths out to people and joke about it. That way they're not so shocked or disturbed, and they actually allow it to absorb into them slightly. But listen to what he's got to say in this particular little, it's only a 2.5 minute little snippet from one of his shows that he did a long time ago.
When I was a kid and we went to the movies, we rooted against the police and for the crooks, and I still do. I love the crooks. I don't give a shit if they come to my house and kill my entire family. I'm on their side. I'd rather spend 16 hours stuck in an elevator with a couple of crooks than even say hello to a fucking policeman. You don't help the police. They're not on your side. Don't you understand this shit yet? They work for the state. They'll plant fake evidence. They'll put a loaded gun in the hands of an unarmed man they've shot to death. They harass minorities. They brutalize people. They deny people their rights, and they lie about it all in court all the time. They perjure themselves routinely, but they don't squeal on each other. They're not rats. So take a page from their book, but never ever help them. And above all, don't plea bargain by turning in a friend. Tell you what, some of you religious people out here, you religious folks, on Judgment Day, when you see God, ask him if you can plea bargain. Ask him if you turn in your family, will he let you into heaven? You know what he'll say? He'll say, go to hell. He'll say, go to hell, you fucking squealing prick. Because even God hates a rat. You know what Jesus should have done? He should have beat the shit out of Judas. Just grab him by the beard and beat the shit out of him. Right in front of the other apostles. Make an example out of you fucking squealing prick. Judas, you cocksucker. You realize I can turn you into a fucking pillar of salt if I want? Turn you into a fucking monkey. How is I can be a fucking monkey? But where's the money? Where's the fucking $30? Give me the $30. I'm fucking buying beer for the rest of these guys. But they didn't fucking rat on me, you prick. But he didn't do that. He didn't do that. You know why? You know why he didn't do that? Because he believed in all this goofy love bullshit. But you notice something else. He did not plea bargain with the Romans. And he didn't squeal on the apostles, you know? He kept his big fucking yap shut, and he took what was coming to him. We can all learn something from Jesus, even if it's not what we're expecting.
So yeah, but actually this kind of aligns with another video that I did prior. I think that video should be uploaded probably within the next week or so. But yeah, libertarians, modern day libertarians, anarchists, voluntarists, people that are against the state using forced subjugation, theft, oppression, the gun in the room, right, as a means to an end. I guess this kind of points it out in a much different aspect. George Carlin has his way with words, right? But if you think about it, it's the same concept. We're all in it. We should always recognize it, that the us versus them. It's not divvying us up as a population, but us as the totality of all the people against the central planners. That's where your focus should always and forever remain. Is you might not like people in your community, your friends or neighbor, or maybe not a friend, right? But your neighbor or co-workers or people in your community. But if they're not using force or theft, coercion against you, then it's just a matter of differences where you can ignore each other and nobody's harmed or hindered as a result. The divide has always been the us versus them is supposed to, and always has been historically, except in this modern world, but that's where the fucking education system is changing things, right? But the proper divide is supposed to be, and it should be, the people versus those in government, or the cronies, the corporatists, right? That lobby the government. It's got to be those that use government against those who don't. And yes, don't rat each other out. Don't hate on your neighbor because they might do something that you don't like, or have a lifestyle that is somewhat different than your own and that you would prefer to force your ideas. No, because as you're seeing, all that happens in that race to the bottom is they'll do the same back to you. And like George Carlin says, people like himself or people like myself, we always try to rise above that fray. We don't rat on our neighbors. You know, we recognize who the true enemies are. And we try to help and raise and elevate other people to our same mentality, where we're not shooting each other, right? And or hindering or hampering each other economically or socially. We're kind of live and let live kind of people. And the only people that we should be against are those that want to force their edicts, their mandates onto us. Don't rat out your neighbor because he grows a few pot plants in his backyard. Like, that's stupid. Is there any harm being coming to you as a result of that? No. But you obviously feel entitled that you have that capacity. And that's because you're listed the rhetoric from your central planners, your mysticists, right? You're falling for the collective delusions where you think that you have any authority to force your opinions on others. George, or people like me, are saying, no, don't do that. Recognize these motherfuckers. And cops, yes, they are the enforcers. They are the enforcing arm of the status. Without them, status would cease to exist tomorrow, and they would have no relevance. Some asshole standing out on the corner, some politician in a fucking three-piece suit saying, oh, you got to do this, you got to... We could all ignore that bullshit. Or trying to say, I'm going to steal, or I'm going to force your employer to take money out of your paycheck. Well, the employer and everyone else could just say, fuck you, I'm giving you shit. Without the enforcers, without the police or the military, they have zero power. Their power, well, it's all based on mysticism, but the real world power, it functions as a result of the enforcers, those who carry out their edicts, those, the mindless order followers that maintain the pretense of legitimacy of their masters, right? So don't show respect to fucking cops. Even, and that's the thing too, I've worked with people, well, my brother's a cop. Well, my parents are cops. Well, then your brother or your fucking parents are fucking idiots. And they are the ones that are gaining a livelihood by having the capacity to work for an employer that gets to steal from everyone else to maintain their employment. So yeah, so your brothers or your brother, your sister, your parents, your uncle, your neighbors, your friends, those in law enforcement or the military are not on your side. They're making a living, but they'll talk out both sides of their mouth, right? So that when they're talking to you, they're saying one thing, oh, I'm just here trying to help people, but their paychecks are a direct result of your oppression. Whether you like to recognize or acknowledge that fact, that doesn't matter. Reality is reality, whether you want to accept that or not. So yeah, like George said, fuck the police, fuck everyone else, fuck these central planners. Show solidarity with everyone else, even the people you don't like. Live and let live. That's how you end statism. That's how you end oppression. That's how you end forced subjugation and slavery. Look at your people on the left and on the right. Live and let live. Have that mentality. Let them do their thing as long as they're not using force or coercion against you or imposing their ideas onto you. Live and let live. That's how you end the state. That's how you vacate the state. It's Canadian Libertarian. I love liberty.